Hi, this video presents 6 tips for negotiating on a video conference platform. While it's designed for law students, it's really applicable for anyone who might be asked to conduct a negotiation online. As the world has adapted to the notion of social distancing in the face of COVID-19, many people have felt constrained and limited by the shift from a traditional face-to-face setting to one online. But video conference platforms present many opportunities and potential benefits. I hope the following 6 tips will provide you some guidance and support as you successfully make this transition. Tip number 1, choose with intention. Just because video conference is available and has become a norm, you should still ask if it's the best medium for your negotiation. Before defaulting to the video conference platform, consider what stage in the negotiation you're in and what your goals are. It may be that a quick phone conversation will do, or maybe you actually need a platform that'll provide other features such as blind bidding or a platform that collects and retains information over the course of multiple sessions. The point is, while we're all finding increased comfort with the use of video conference platforms, you still want to be strategic and ensure the medium and platform you choose actually meets your goals. Tip number 2, prepare. If you do strategically choose to use a video conference medium for your negotiation, or for many of you might be required to use it as part of a class, make sure you're familiar and comfortable with the chosen platform so you can get the most out of it. Set up a test run with a colleague. Make sure you feel comfortable navigating within it so that you know how to mute and unmute your audio and video. You know how to use waiting rooms or breakout rooms or any of the other features. And while this is just a tip, it may also be an ethical responsibility. And in 2012, the Model Rules of Professional Conduct were amended to read Comment 8 of Rule 1.1. To maintain the requisite knowledge and skill, a lawyer should keep abreast of changes in the law and its practice, and then here's the amendment, including the benefits and risks associated with relevant technology. Over half the states, 38 to be exact, have adopted this rule. So although it's important to be prepared, it may also be an ethical responsibility. Tip number 3, consider your space. You want to think about what the other individuals are seeing on their screen as well as what it looks like on yours. In any negotiation, we must find a way to effectively work with other negotiators in order to resolve that dispute or strike a deal. And this requires effective communication, rapport building, and trust. This can be difficult in any setting, but deserves special attention when we find ourselves negotiating in an online environment over Zoom or any other video conferencing platform. Professor Noam Ebner warns that as video conferencing software has become more and more advanced and realistic, we tend to become complacent. But we still have to be intentional and make sure we pay attention to how video conference software impacts our ability to communicate, to read other people's body language, and build trust with our fellow negotiators. People are becoming more and more familiar with the notion of Zoom fatigue that results from that hyper-vigilant reading of body language just slightly out of sync with verbal and paraverbal communication. And then there's the lack of eye contact. There's cultural assumptions baked into this, but research is showing that the placement of our webcams and the difficulty of looking each other in the eye is leading to a sense of mistrust. So when we set up our space, we want to think about how and where we place our computer. So if you use 2 monitors, you want to make sure the webcam is on the same screen as the video conference display. If you're using a single monitor, you always want to make sure that that monitor with the webcam is lifted so that the webcam is parallel looking straight at you, not up or down. This might require a laptop stand or using some books. But the idea is you just want to raise it a little bit higher. Last, when we consider setting up our space, we also want to think about what it looks like on your screen. So most platforms have multiple views. You've got the speaker view, the ability to pin videos, and then the gallery view, or Hollywood Squares, Brady Bunch view. Think about what works best for you to enhance your ability to communicate and build trust with the other side. I tend to like the gallery view. I want to be able to see everybody that's involved in the negotiation or on the conference call, just like I would if I was in person. So let's also talk about our self view. Most video conference platforms give you the ability to see yourself and what it looks like to the other individuals on the call. This can be helpful to ensure that you stay within the defined viewing area. Your head, your shoulders are square in the middle of the screen. But once I set that up, I like to hide my self view so that I'm not constantly checking that video screen to make sure that I look okay, which can be really distracting for me, but it's also distracting for others on the call as I glance away regularly. Tip number 4, welcome and build trust. Research demonstrated that spending time schmoozing and getting to know your fellow negotiators prior to getting down to business increases the chances of reaching a deal. So make sure to build in time for this just like you would in a face-to-face negotiation. And just like when meeting in person, take the time to welcome the parties and orient them to the platform, especially if you think they may not share the same comfort or familiarity with the platform as you. Walk parties through where to find things, just as you would orient them to your office, where the restrooms are, refreshments. In this context, you want to point out the different features of the platform, how to mute audio and video, how to share documents or links in chat, the different screen views, how to reach out to folks on the call off video, etc. You want to talk about what you're going to do if the technology isn't working, someone's internet's unstable, or the audio video freezes. Are you going to call each other? Are you going to email each other? How are you going to reconnect? And last, discuss the process, especially if there are more than 2 people on the call. There's an increased likelihood that people will unintentionally speak over each other, and so come up with a game plan. Do you need a facilitator? Should you use features such as raising hand or chat? This initial stage in a video conference negotiation is even more crucial than in an in-person negotiation because of the inherent limitations of video conference to accurately capture and reflect nonverbal communication. Tip number 5, protect privacy and security. Ask yourself and the other parties, what are the expectations for privacy and confidentiality? Which type of platform might provide the highest level of security, and does it have end-to-end encryption? Most video conference platforms have some other features that can help you protect privacy to a certain extent, such as changing the settings so that no one else can record the meeting, using passwords, or even notifying you whenever someone arrives. There's also more basic things that you can do. So we want to think about as someone else in the space that can hear the discussions that may not otherwise be on screen. Quick Tiger King reference here. You might want to watch out for the Jeff Lowe's lurking in the background, right? When you're on a video conference or even a regular phone call, you can't tell who else is in the room and might be able to hear the conversation. So if confidentiality and privacy are of any concern to you or your client, take the time to discuss it with the rest of the parties and ensure that folks are in a private location or using headphones even, which not only can enhance the sound quality, but ensures no one else in the room can hear what's going on. Tip number 6, exploring other technology. Video conference platforms aren't just a communication intermediary. I mean, that may be their main function, but they include other features that might enhance your negotiation as well, so consider using them. The chat function is a way that you can share files back and forth. It's also a second medium in which to communicate. It can be helpful when working in group negotiations as a way to communicate without interrupting the speaker. But just like when writing notes with someone in a face-to-face negotiation, it can be distracting, so do so with care. But the chat function can be a way to capture notes, to be able to review them after the negotiation. You should also note that if the negotiation is being recorded, your chat messages, whether to the entire group or private, are captured and made available to the host. But there's other features like the screen share or whiteboards, features that allow you to directly collaborate with the other side, use visuals, share documents, working out the numbers. The point is that Zoom and other platforms offer more than the ability to see each other over video. These additional features can enhance your negotiation if you use them appropriately. Don't feel limited by the features embedded in Zoom or whatever platform you're using, because if you're meeting online, you also have the ability to access all other sorts of online tools and use them in tandem with your negotiation. So research software, collaborative document creation, litigation analytics. There's just so many new legal technology tools that can enhance your negotiation. Take advantage of the fact that you're negotiating while sitting on a computer that literally puts thousands of helpful tools at your fingertips. With these 6 tips, I wish you the best of luck in your video conference negotiations. Remember that video conference technology isn't the only way you can conduct a negotiation, even in the midst of a pandemic. And video conference technology isn't just a communication intermediary. As with everything else, explore your options, think creatively, and be strategic, and you'll increase your likelihood of success.